What's up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different, a little bit special, because I'm going to be showing you how I take and edit my Instagram photos. Today's video is going to be absolutely packed with information on how I set up my Instagram photos, how I take my Instagram photos, what app I use, how I edit them, and all of that good stuff. So if you want to know how I do it, then just keep on watching. One thing that you'll notice I do is I use the exact same background for my photos every single time. And you can do whatever you want, but I like to keep it very even and just clean looking. So I actually have a blanket that you can see on my bed right now that I use as the background for my photos. Typically I'll just leave the blanket on the bed and then I'll just take the books from the bookshelf and lay them out, set them up nicely, and take the photo. But this time I did it a little bit differently. The natural light from my window was really coming through, and I decided that I wanted to showcase some of that in the photo because I figured that it will just keep the exposure really nice and happy and I won't have to do too much editing. Turns out I didn't actually think about the shadow factor, so I ended up having to do it anyways. Just a reminder as well, if you're using a directional background like I do, try to remember to keep it in the same direction every time. I actually originally laid out the blanket with the chevron pattern facing up and down, and then instead looked at my preview app and realized that in every single photo it's facing side to side, so I went ahead and switched it just to keep everything synonymous. When you're setting up your Instagram photos, really all you have to do is just have fun and play around with it. I know it sounds cliche and maybe weird, but honestly, your creativity can really flow during this part and you can decide which layouts you like the most and which ones don't actually work. Some of the layouts that I do don't even fit in the screen of my camera, so honestly, sometimes you just have to play with it. Okay, so this looks incredibly dumb, but basically what I do is I take my lamp and I shine the light directly at whatever I'm trying to take a photo of, and it just gives me a little bit more of a brighter light. I know this light is a little too yellow, but honestly it works for now and I'll get a different one in the future. Pro tip. One thing that I mostly always do when I'm taking Instagram photos is I scout my entire house for good props. The best props are the ones that fit in with the theme of the photo, obviously, but also the color theme. Color theme is so important because it can match the theme of the photo, but the colors could completely clash and it could not look good at all. You want to make sure it all matches and looks super nice and well blended together, but remember not to overdo it because you can have too many props in a photo, and I've definitely done that before. I'm guilty as charged. Keep it minimal and keep it clean. Now, along with my background, I also use the same bunny in every single one of my photos. I think there's actually one photo where I forgot to add the bunny in. It's just to have something to tie all of your photos together and keep everything looking smooth and synonymous and cute. Some people put flowers in every single photo, some people put donuts in every single photo. It's all up to you. You get to decide. I just personally use this little bunny to keep everything kind of tied together. This process can be fun as long as you play with it and just let your mind run free. In this layout, I decided to go with something that looked a little bit like a crown or a sunshine. I figured I would go ahead and give you an example of maybe what it would look like if you didn't photograph books. Sometimes I will go ahead and take my record player off the shelf or get out my records and go ahead and photograph those as well. I do have a couple pictures on my Instagram of my record player and some records that I have, so if you want to go over there and check them out, then please do. Honestly, I just think it's cute and sometimes it just gives my feed a little bit of a refresh and different feel. I decided these record photos would look best in a carousel, and you can actually do that in the preview app before you even post it on Instagram. All you have to do to make a carousel is save both of the pictures that you've taken into the camera roll on your phone. Then all I need to do is hit the plus button at the top of the preview app, click carousel, and then select the photos that I want to be in a carousel. The pros of doing this in the preview app before you even post it to Instagram is that you can actually see what it looks like before you post it, and when it's time to post it, all you have to do is click the share button and post to Instagram and you're all set to go. Okay, so here's the deal. I actually don't have that many books compared to several other bookstagrammers who have huge platforms and hundreds of books. I have basically nothing. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love my book collection and I think it's perfect, especially for my shelf space, but for photographing books, it's a little bit different to figure out which ones that I have just photographed and ones that I should probably do because I haven't done them in a while. There's a method to my madness because I have so little books that it's easy to photograph the same 5. They're gonna notice that and it's gonna look a little strange, at least in my opinion. You do whatever you want. One thing I love to do when I want to talk about a book or showcase a book that I don't have in physical form is I take someone else's phone and I open up the Kindle app. Now you can download a sample of a book from the Kindle app. One thing you can do if you can't find a clear image of the cover that you want to take a picture of is you can always take a picture with the phone with a black screen and then just Photoshop the book cover on top of the iPhone. I've personally used this method in a lot of my photos, including some of the ones that I'm showing right now. I absolutely love this method because it's very sensible and you can get a wider reach of books that you want to talk about or just covers that you absolutely love, whatever you want. It's super easy to do and it has great results. Now it's finally time to get into how I edit my Instagram photos. You'll notice I have a very set way of how I edit my photos, and honestly it just makes it so much more simpler. For the filters, I click the A3 filter and move it down to 5, and then the A7 filter and move it down to 8. Then I go into the photo editor and resize my picture to a perfect square, that way it matches the Instagram feed. I click the adjust button and go into brightness and turn that up to about 10 or 15. Then I'm going to go into the warmth section and turn it down -40. All of these numbers are super rough, so -40 is what I shoot for, but it doesn't always hit that number and it's totally fine. Then I'll go into the saturation and up it to 40. I always turn my sharpness up about 10. And then I click the whiteness tool and whiten my entire blanket. That just helps cancel out any of the shadows and the yellowness in the photo, taking it from this to this. I complete these exact same steps for every single one of my photos, so honestly I do absolutely nothing different and it's just the same process for everyone. Some of the photos that I take do require more whitening, and that just means that I'm going to go over it once or twice extra, but aside from that everything is 100% the same. It's always good to remember that putting the most effort into your photos is going to result in the highest quality photo. Now, I'm not talking about using your phone versus using a professional camera. What I'm talking about is props and the amount of time and effort you put into setting up the photo in the first place. Some of my absolute favorite photos are the ones that I just put the most time and effort into, especially just choosing the props, putting the colors in, making sure the colors matched and didn't clash or look weird. Now, obviously, not all of my photos look absolutely amazing and the highest quality and my favorite, and that's just because time. It takes so much time to set up a photo. Editing a photo for me isn't really that hard. It takes like 2 seconds, but setting up and taking a photo can take so long, and sometimes I'm sitting there for hours just to take a handful of photos. But honestly, if you have the time, I highly recommend you just put in the work and do it. Here's a handful of my absolute favorite photos. Now, I shot them all in the same day. They were all fall themed, as you can clearly tell, but they're just so cutesy and I absolutely love them, and I put so much time and effort into them, and to this day they're my favorite photos that I've taken so far. I think I did like 14 in a day or something, and it took me 5 or 6 hours just to get those photos. But again, if you want something to look right, you need to spend the time on it and just have fun with it. No matter what, just remember to have fun. But again, if you want to produce that quality content, you're really going to have to spend the time on it in the first place. And there you go, that is exactly how I take and edit my Instagram photos. As always, I hope you really enjoyed the video. If you did and you're enjoying my content thus far, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below, and also give this video a like because it really supports my channel. It sounds cliche, but I promise you it's true. And of course, I hope you have an amazing day or an amazing night or whenever it is that you're watching this, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!